Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today's InsurTech Thought Leadership Panel hosted by EthAum Venture Partners and MediConCen. This is Pankaj Gupta from EthAum Venture Partners. EthAum is a deep tech revenue accelerator and fund based in Singapore with approximately 90 portfolio startups from various sectors and geographies, including InsurTech. MediConCen is one of the portfolio startups of EthAum, which comes from Hong Kong and is disrupting InsurTech space using AI, ML, and blockchain. They are extremely popular among InsurTech companies in Asia, especially Hong Kong and China, and now they are obviously expanding in other parts of the world. MediConCen and EthAum are really excited to host this panel since it gives us a fantastic opportunity to connect with the insurance leaders, learn from their insights, and build a fabulous community of subject matter experts. During the first half of the session, William will ask questions on the industry, innovation, trends, and things of that nature, and we'll try to get the feedback from the esteemed panelists. During the second half of the panel or session, William will present MediConCen's solution and receive a brutal feedback from the panelists. And please mind it, brutal. It has to be really, really brutal. Hope you enjoyed today's insightful discussion, and connect with MediConCen and EthAum after the event for exploring collaboration opportunities. Now, I will request William to provide a very brief introduction of MediConCen, probably an elevator pitch, and take the event forward. William?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to join this panel and our sharing sections. Our company, MediConCen, is an InsurTech company founded in 2018, and our only goal is to automate insurance claim. By that, we mean one day you don't need to do any insurance claim, because I personally think this is an invention of insurance industry. No other industry got this experience, but if we can solve that, it would be a great treasure to the humanity, I would say. So I am expecting a good panel to come, and welcome everyone on board.
Thank you, William. Now, I would request Vishal to go ahead and do a brief intro of himself and HDFC ERGO.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vishal Sikand. I look after products, innovation, and strategic alliances. We have a 20-year-old company called HDFC ERGO. It's the second largest private sector insurance company with a significant portion in health insurance as well. We are 15 million customers. We operate from close to about 6,000 offices. Some of them are digital offices. We have a total employee base of about 10,000 plus employees. Some of the interesting facts about our organization is over a period of last 14 years, we've seen a 37% CAGR growth. From being at the bottom of the pyramid, we have reached to this level of second largest private sector player. We have keen interest in digital technology. We have solutions which work on AI, ML. We have front-end systems which take care of customer on the move, buying insurance policies, servicing, and endorsing. So looking forward to the section today. Looking forward to engaging with the team.
Thanks a lot, Vishal. That's a quite fabulous growth that you have achieved at HDFC ERGO. Congratulations for that. Priya?
Sure, lovely. Thank you, first and foremost, for having me on board for this session. Looking forward to a great conversation. I work as a Chief Operating Officer with MediConCen. I'm responsible for the entire back and front end journeys of the consumers, including the risk management, clinical risk management, health risk management piece. MediConCen is a 10-year-old organization, and we serve and take pride in serving the Indian citizens. Our motto is to really get the maximum penetration and secure, the financial needs by virtue of health, and fitness and wellness, assistance to our consumers. We have more than 15 million consumers. We operate in retail segment. We also have group affinity and group, corporate kind of a insurance setup. Our, growth has been, CAGR has been around 35% year on year. And we take pride in creating innovative products, which are all encompassing from need basis to segment basis to episodic basis, and we have been fairly kind of focusing on segments needing maximum care and attention, and we also have launched global the True Blue insurance product recently. Through these sessions, I'm looking forward to creating impact across the industry and trying and getting the best possible solution for the consumer problems and roadblocks and any kind of issues from a customer centricity and the journey standpoint. So thank you for that.
Thanks a lot, Priya. Really appreciate it. Arijit.
Hi, thanks Pankaj and the team for having me here. This is my, I think, third time with being a part of the panel, so quite excited, and also share the panel with other dignitaries and other audiences. So my name is Arijit. I'm the Managing Director APAC for CoverGenius. CoverGenius is a relatively new company than HDFC ERGO and Manipal Signa. We are one of the leading global InsurTech platform. We specialize in embedded insurance. By embedded insurance means that we tag insurance at the primary path of a purchase. So you take an example of our global clients like Booking Holdings, Agoda, Skyscanner, Make My Trip. So whenever you would have gone to any e-commerce, take an example of an OTA and booked a ticket or a travel ticket, and at that time, if you see insurance popping up, that generally is our product. Similarly, if you go to any e-commerce, whether it's Amazon, eBay, Shopee, Flipkart in India, globally, other e-commerces, again, if you see insurance coming up at the time of you're making a primary purchase, or if you're buying a laptop or a mobile phone, we provide that insurance, and that's generally our product. So we are now about 500 people across globally. And we divide the business in 3 different sub-regions. So we have USA, EMEA, and APAC. I take care of the APAC and a part of the global executive team. And I come from insurance background. So I was senior management with Manulife, Zurich, and then for the last 8 years, left my corporate role to build fintech and insurtech companies. And this is kind of my third startup, which I'm building. So quite familiar with traditional businesses and new ventures, and see where the gaps are and how I can advise or sort of bridge the gap. So that's the expertise I bring.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Arijit. William, now it's your turn to take out some hot and sizzling questions from your pocket and throw at the panelist. Please go ahead.
I think we have the excellent panel here. We got someone from the insurance company and someone from the tech world. But I think every solution will start with the problems. I just want to ask, what are the most painful challenges that the insurance leader are concerned about in nowadays world? Maybe we start with the lady first, Priya. Yeah.
Sure. So thank you for that question, William. And, when we talk about insurance, basically speaking, we are looking at penetration, and we're looking at consumers to find value commercially, economically, and also to have a sense of security as we progress from a penetration standpoint. So the biggest challenge, inside out and outside in from a consumer perspective, pre-COVID, the insurance products were so much, kind of push kind of products. Over the last 2.5, 3 years, however, consumers have realized that insurance is not just a commodity that can be bought, as in when all other needs are kind of covered or satisfied. It is a basic need and a necessity, so to say. And we've seen huge amount of activism and huge amount of change in expectations, so to say, from a insurance fraternity, especially from a health insurance standpoint. With that changing, consumer expectations, we have a lot of, startups and a lot of aggregators in different spaces, whether it is food, delivery aggregator or a, cab service and so on and so forth, including large giants like you have, Amazons of the sort. So solving large, logistical problem for the consumers. So consumers are expecting instant solution, instant decision, small sachet size products to really fit their needs. So how do you really marry conventional model of insurance, which is insurance is basically risk management. It is about, creating cohorts of consumers and identifying their needs and, profiling these needs and putting a commercial, risk mitigation and a pricing value. So how do you really create the conventional insurance product offering to meet the needs of today's consumers? And also, as we know, India is, the youngest country, and the maximum activity is happening in Gen Z. So these are the guys also really securing, their insurance needs. So how do you really, solve the jigsaw puzzle of conventional products and solving the needs and the expectations of the consumer? Is a real problem that is, that needs to be sorted. And that's where product innovation and simplification of consumer journey really comes at the forefront, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's very true. The world is changing with all of the new technology coming in. The demand of the customer is changed. I think you just make a very good point about the changing customer that are driving the changes. Maybe Richard, do you have other opinion as an insurer? What do you see are the major pain points in nowadays? And is it only because the customer changed, or other things that are happening in the world that makes you feel painful?
No, I think Priya quite rightly put it across, saying that driving penetration for India, which currently is 1% of the GDP, comes in from the insurance piece, and it has taken us about 10 years to move from 0.6 to 1%. So that's the pace that has been there. So driving penetration for us has been a biggest challenge. India also gets divided into two parts, right? So there is one, the urban India, and then there is a Bharat, which is the rural part. Getting reach to that place is a big challenge. A lot has been done over a period of last 7-8 years in terms of digitization, in terms of connectivity, in terms of electricity, in terms of communication about insurance. But traditionally, something that we as an industry we suffer from is the trust deficit. I think bridging that gap is possibly the biggest challenge as an insurance industry world over, which has been there, right? And that comes like what Priya also talked about, making products more affordable, making simplified products, relevant products, product meant for a customer segment who values the value proposition itself so strong that it speaks to that person. So I think that's where we will be able to come up with or at least try and bridge that trust deficit. Having said that, I think technology will make a lot of assistance in this entire piece by making it more transparent, by making it more accessible, not only the product but the services along with it. And I think lastly, in India, there are a lot of changes which are taking place. So when you look at the regulatory framework that is transforming, I think a lot of value adds in the coming years will make a lot of difference in the way people consume insurance. So overall, this trust deficit needs to kind of come down, and that's what my view on the biggest pain point for the industry would be.
Great. I think the market is also changing. It's also one of the major driving factor for the pain point. So we now hear the view from the insurance company. Let's hear about the view from an InsurTech startup. So Avijit, can you share your viewpoint on what do you think the biggest pain point that the insurance leader is facing now?
Sure, William. I think the points are pretty valid with Vishal and Priya have mentioned. From my side, I think the biggest pain point is innovation across all value chains of insurance. So if you take at the first value chain, like look at distribution. Distribution has been traditionally done through either brokers, bank assurance, agents, or you have a laundry list of insurance products on a website and which people are buying. So the penetration in all these things has minimized a lot. So what we are doing, suppose in CoverGenius, we are looking at distribution, which is a more B2B2C model. So we only work with large e-commerce enterprises where you have a captive customer and how you can convert that captive customer to an insurance journey, right? So that is where the biggest pain point, which also Vishal Priya mentioned, is it's a penetration of insurance. So first it's the distribution. Second part is product innovation. Now, in terms of the product innovation, we keep on, and given my, when I was a part of the corporate world, I saw that we keep on copying each other's product. We don't innovate on the product. So X company launches one product, Y company sort of goes in the next week to launch a slightly better product with a different feature or a reduced pricing. That is what we aim for. But we don't look back and see that what kind of a product is suitable for the consumer, whether we need these laundry list of product features which is packed in the product or which are the main parts. I think product innovation is a very important aspect, which comes with simplicity and transparency. We still feel insurance, like as an insurance consumer as well, the products are out in the market are way more complicated for any layperson to understand. So understanding that what exactly you have bought, what are your inclusions, what are your exclusions, the wordings are not very transparent how it is put forward. So the transparency, making products simple, is another thing which we need to innovate on. Then comes to operations. Operations of insurance also can be quite cumbersome for large traditional players. A lot of things are still in wet signatures. A lot of things are still, you have to come to the branch and sign things, right? So things needs to be automated on an end-to-end basis. Fourth, and the biggest part is claims. Recently, without naming, which we called one of the largest digital insurer in India, and I was buying a travel insurance for my mother. I could easily buy it off the website, a travel insurance. When I went to claim for a damaged bag, they direct me to an email address where I have to put all the documents and give the reasons for the claim. So we make claims purposely sometimes with friction so that claims numbers go down and we don't receive so much claims and we don't have to pay out. Claims, and I feel insurance is sometimes experienced only through claims, because it's not a Samsung phone or iPhone or any other gadget which you look and feel at time. You can only experience insurance when there is a claim. So that's something InsurTechs have done it. We have done it where we have automated end-to-end claims and made life simpler for people. Again, on my traditional days, we used to measure ourselves on NPS, which used to be always negative for the insurance industry. So we shall also highlight the point of trust, and the trust gets reflected on consumer journeys, right? Most insurers have a negative NPS, where in Cover Genius, we have a positive 65 to 70 NPS, and this is post claims, right? So we need to innovate in all different value chains of insurance, starting from distribution to the claims, and we have a long way ahead of us.
Yeah, I share your view. Actually, as an actuary, I always feel that, okay, we still need more product innovation. I can't recall how many times I was asked to price the product that is similar to the competition and just add a bit of changes. But as you know, there is no patent in insurance industry, so it's also difficult to come up with so many innovations. And that's why we have the esteemed guests here who are driving innovation in the industry. I think it comes to my second question. Now we know all the problems. So what are the innovation and the new solution in the insurance space that you are feeling really excited about? So let's start with lady first again, maybe. Priya.
So thanks, William, and very, very kind of pertinent points shared by Vishal and Arijit from a consumer problem statement standpoint. And just to reflect a little bit before I get into what are the innovative measures and solutions being that we see in the space in India and elsewhere in the world that really excites us. Personally, I've been in this space for 26 years. Starting from going to the hospitals, trying and requesting them to get empaneled for cashless, and they would wonder, we have cash patients, why should we sign up for something called as cashless? So from there to almost 65-70% of their volumes now are being funded by the payers and insurers like us. So we've come a long way in 2.5 decades. Beyond what Arijit mentioned and Vishal mentioned, trust, simplicity, claim being the moment of truth. Because as an insurance company, our product is nothing else but paying the claims, right? I mean, when we say this, the biggest challenge or the biggest issue pursuant to India specifically is that we don't have a healthcare regulator. We do not have a electronic data interface like a couple of other countries. You have Australia, a couple of other developed, kind of healthcare and health payer, ecosystem. You don't have a single platform where payer providers are kind of connected together. There is a challenge. The trust, if you were to underpin this challenge of trust deficit, it comes from the fact there is no information. If at all information is existing, there is a lot of information asymmetry. So if we were to buy a gadget, or we were to buy a Mercedes-Benz or a Maruti Suzuki, we would pay for the premium and the kind of quality that we are purchasing. And in return, we would enjoy the ride and the kind of benefits of those products. Unlike that, health insurance, if we were to look at, we are actually insuring and giving an assurance of a health risk of a consumer basis certain permutation combination, certain risk parameters that we have, our actuaries, our data set, the demography, all of that is available. But because of the lack of information and insights, we have no way to gauge, how good or bad the life that is getting insured is really coming through. And the biggest problem is fraud. When I say fraud, it's not hard fraud alone. It is non-disclosure, because unlike a couple of other countries in India, we are, kind of underwriting the risk, and basis that underwriting, offering a very, very economic product. So that, with that backdrop of no health insurance, health regulator, there is no EDI, causing the trust deficit that Vishal mentioned, and a couple of other real genuine problems from a consumer and distributor perspective that Arijit highlighted. A lot of innovation is happening on the product space. A lot of innovation is happening from a automation standpoint, where insurers are taking on a lot of more risk and willing to really price that risk and pass on, a straight through product and a straight through auto adjudication solutions. So a lot of that is really exciting. We are seeing, innovation coming through on the entire risk underwriting, claim adjudication, customer journey innovation, and the product space that really excites, us. And we are, kind of looking at some of these, product innovations and customer journey innovation that can really take away the trust deficit and build in more, kind of stickiness from a consumer and distributor standpoint. And that's where the space of the whole back end, and the middle office and the back end, getting automated as a clearinghouse that will bring, some of these issues, to be solved. And I must mention the regulator, a lot of changes that are happening at the regulator, the IRDAI in India. The platform that we're talking about is getting built. A lot of information sharing across insurance companies around frauds that are happening that will enable insights and help us to really bridge this gap. So those are things that we see, as propelling and progressing for a positive momentum. William.
Yeah, that's a very great sharing. As a blockchain startup, I love to hear that because actually trust is a big issue, and how to tackle fraud. I think if the government do that, that would be good. But then if without government, how can you trust each other and operate into a system that everyone can share the data and safely and accurately? That's I think the promise of the blockchain technology can bring along. Let's hear about the view from Misha. What are the most exciting innovation that you can imagine that you have come across and you want to share with us?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think we can spend another 60-70 minutes just one person answering this, but I'll try and keep it as short as possible. I think let me first give it, credit to the regulator out here. I think over the last maybe a year or a little less than a year, there's a lot of transformation that has taken place, and a lot of new solutions and a lot of new, policies have been rolled out. I mean, one of them is the entire deployment of KYC. This, from our perspective, and I would consider HDFC ERGO as the flag bearer out here to kind of implement KYC. We have, for our new policy issuance, more than 90% of our policies have been KYC done. Not a single one has been manually done. Everything has been digitally performed, real time, on the go, while the person is buying the policy. Now, what does it do? It basically at least ensures that the credibility of the customer walking in to buy the policy, the data has been restored, and that is when, at the time of claim, we do not have any inconvenience of doubting each other. So I think that's credit goes to the regulator for bringing in such progressive steps. We also believe with the vision of insurance for all for 2047, that's 100 years of Indian independence, health will become a critical part along with life and asset protection. And I'm sure for a population like us, reaching out health, there'll be very innovative ways of providing these solutions. One could also imagine universal health coming into play. One could also imagine the entire digital health scheme to roll out in a big manner. So that'll be an exciting time to see. Having said that, if I really have to reflect in our scenario today, I mean, in my mind, I can kind of block it into 4 pieces: the risk, the customer segment, the consumption, and technology. In our industry, the risks are changing. I mean, we had COVID, then post-COVID scenarios like mental illness. There are people who've gone out, staying at home, bought gadgets. Those are expensive ones. They need to be insured. There is an immense amount of threat around cyber insurance, not only in the industrial world or commercial world, but also from individual perspective. There is the entire issue on the NatCat events, so parametric events that needs to. So risk is evolving. Risks are changing from the traditional risk that we used to see. The customer segment then gets divided into making it more relatable risk. So if you're looking at somebody at a younger age in health insurance, he doesn't really want to buy an insurance policy today. By the time he becomes 45 plus and he realizes, oh, he should have had it, possibly for some of them, the boat has already sailed. They are suffering from some or the other illness. How do we kind of get them into the ambit of insurance so that the value proposition, what Priya also talked about earlier, the value proposition is significant for them. There is also a study in India which says that most of us as Indians are just one health claim away from becoming bankrupt. So how do we kind of move this economic loss into an insurance loss? So those are interesting thoughts that one looks at it. What about the demographic? What about the gender? Do we have women-specific health insurance policies? Do we have, the regulator is doing a lot of work in terms of getting inclusion from handicap, from suffering from a certain amount of diseases. Then we also need to look at how the people who are consuming it. So what channel, what kind of a product innovatively? Is it all everywhere sachet embedded products? Does it make sense of having relevant products from that channel perspective, distribution cost perspective, reach perspective? So a huge amount of consumption. We also see digital channels in India evolving fast and quick. With the entire insurance and especially health, I keep on coming back to health because I think we'll all agree health is the fastest growing insurance segment in the country today, right? So from a health perspective, if you like, there's a huge amount of communication that has gone around in the industry, whether you call it the government-sponsored, lower income group health insurance policy, to talking about the missing middle now. There is a communication on health which has already gone out. People would want to buy it. A lot of them are actually coming online. Today, we have possibly one of the largest digital standalone health insurance business in the company and in the country, not in the company, but in the country. Then comes is the technology piece. I think from AI perspective, I mean, we are the 6th largest insurer in motor insurance. We talk about a moment of truth as claims. About 70% of our policies, 70% of our claims are run through AI engine. Instantly a claim is paid out with the engine. The surveyor does not need to be deployed. I mean, these guys are our surveyors. So there are a huge amount of work also in the underwriting tool for health insurance. AI is coming in very handy in over there. So these are some of the new solutions, innovations, changing landscape, which we believe are very, very interesting for times to come.
Great. It's a very comprehensive sharing. So last but not least, let's hear about the view from Vijay. Besides Corporate Genius, what are the greatest innovation that you think is you're excited about?
I think most of the points are overall covered by Priya and Vishal. I will just add on to like what they're saying is more about, if you look at product construct, right? We are now at a age where we can look at customer data and transactional data and merge it to create a product which is customized to that particular individual. Because insurance has been designed in a way that it's one product available for everyone who wants to come and buy. But what we are doing in our space is, again, coming up with digital channels where we can have customized insurance which is bespoke to the channel, and whoever coming on the platform, we can also do a profiling. As an example, when I'm traveling with my family, my needs of a travel insurance is a bit different from when I'm alone traveling on a business. Right. So if there is a business traveler versus a family traveler, how can I change my product construct in a way that is more suitable to that person? Similar construct, you can put it into life, auto, health, and various other insurance products. And then look at the whole evolution of, we are talking about embedded insurance because we are all insurance professionals, but there is a bigger gambit of embedded finance. So with the expansion of not only credit cards, which is now, apart from credit cards, you have wallets, you have different payment gateways, you have buy now, pay later platforms. So there is a huge amount of consumer data, spending habits, profiling, which we can see. But none of us are properly evaluating the data and coming up with insurance products which are suitable for those consumers. So it's largely aspect we are doing that. Like, the team of actuaries which we have in-house are all pretty much data scientists, right? They look at data, they come up with those findings that what product is suitable for which consumer in which platforms. And then we approach those platforms with our customized data, which is suitable for those consumer journeys. So that is where I'm keeping my answer short because a lot of things are already covered. But that is where I think the future of insurance would be, how we can merge a transaction related to customer data, come up with customized products for individuals rather than one size fits all sort of a product.
Yeah, it's very great sharing about. I think embedded insurance is one of the new innovation in the insurance space. If we fast forward for 5 years, what do you think would be how the insurance space will evolve in 5 years time? How, let's say we fast forward 5 years now, how do you think the insurance market will be like? Maybe we start from the InsurTech first. Avijit, can you share your view about the future?
Sure. I think, okay, when I started off, right, on the InsurTech journey, InsurTechs wanted insurance companies as partners, okay? It has now kind of shifted where insurance companies want to work with InsurTechs. So a lot of people thought one is a competitor to the other, but I don't see it that way. It's actually a very more collaborative approach you can take to address the whole insurance penetration and simplicity and product pricing and everything which we spoke about. So I think this collaboration with insurance and insurtechs will be a way more stronger in future. And people will go more digital because a new generation which is coming, they don't want more offline channels. They are more habituated or savvy with digitization. So things will move more digital. Obviously, COVID kind of accelerated that, but with the new generation, it will be more towards that. Third point is you will see, again, embedded will be the future, definitely. So wherever there are embedded journey possibilities where insurance can be a part of that overall embedded finance, and we can push the insurance, that will be the future. And again, on the claim side, we will see a lot of innovations to how we can automate claims, how we can automate operations. So from a very traditional way of operating insurance, every value chain, which was my first answer, will go digital. I think in the next 5 years, that is where we see things. Everything will be automated, everything will go digital. And there would be a close collaboration between both insurance and insurtechs and with the combined goal and a combined vision of making things affordable, accessible for the consumers where they exactly know what they're buying.
Great. I think technology is changing every day, and we recently have ChatGPT, and I personally find it very exciting. So, what's your view about the future, Visa? Do you see maybe one day the AI will rule the world? we no longer need insurance because the car drive themselves. In 5 years, what do you think would be the space would be?
Yeah, I'm sure if ChatGPT can make products on demand, then possibly I'll have to look for another job, and definitely not insurance, because I think they'll conquer that entire thing. But I think the world is going to be like that, something like this. I think it's going to be an exciting times. It's going to be unprecedented and definitely exponential growth. Again, exponential growth. When I'm talking about, I think we all could agree about it, saying that we are looking at year 2047. So I think all insurance companies are going to be, and all stakeholders, including distributors, are going to be busy building capacity and capability to address that requirement. So we are all going to be on an upswing in terms of growth. What I also believe is that search for insurance, online search on Google, would stop. People are not going to go out and search for motor insurance or health insurance or travel insurance. I think people are going to talk about traveling. People are going to talk about experiences. They're going to talk about wellness. And I think in those searches, an ecosystem needs to be built up where insurance would reside. Ecosystem is going to play a much larger role, maybe 5 years down the line, maybe 7 years down the line, but definitely people are not going to have these kind of searches. I also believe around the corner we should see value-added services coming into play. So the insurance regulation should change. If they do make an amendment in the insurance regulation and value-added services do come on board, then insurance company will be able to sell these value-added services themselves. Today, insurance company can also decide to sell other financial products, not only health insurance and motor insurance, but they can also sell banking products and these under the regulations. So I think for us, we itself could envisage to become an ecosystem, embedding and partnering with other value-added services partners and channels from distribution. So I feel in the next 5 to 6 years, it's going to be very, very exciting time, very unprecedented and exponential growth. It'll be very difficult to really pinpoint where we'll end up, but it'll be a happy place to be.
Yeah, 5 years is very long. I think that the technology is advancing at accelerating speed now. So
technology will continue to harbor around this. I mean, nothing can be achieved without having the right technology and a platform to do it. So really, if I have not talked about technology, I've kind of underplayed it. But I think the entire thing would reside on technology. There'd be nothing that we will be able to do without that.
Yeah, great. Let's hear the view of Priya on about the future. Do you see a different future from the other panelists?
No, sure. I think pretty much aligned with the view. But if we were to see this, the views and next 5 years, how it is going to shape up with the changes that are happening today. So if we were to imagine a triangle, with consumer on one end, healthcare spending shifts or healthcare evolving, and the country's, the shift in regulation and the regulatory changing and the ecosystem changing. If you were to consider these three parameters or paradigms, if you were to look at India, our healthcare, there is a lot of digital health innovation that is being driven. There is a thought process of covering every 100%, coverage, in the next couple of decades. Achieving universal health coverage, as they call it, and improving the healthcare infrastructure at the back of COVID, right? So all of these changes, along with regulatory advocacy, and of course, my fellow panelists spoke about, and I spoke about how the consumer needs and expectations are changing, right? So with all of these ecosystem, changes, driven by the way the economy is shaping, per capita income is going up, and the digitization agenda, as we all spoke about, I see a lot of personalization coming to fore. I see, huge amount of digital disruption, and I would tend to agree with what Vishal said. All of these changes that are going to be driven, they cannot be driven manually. They have to be, basis, the whole disruption that is happening on the platform. I would tend to agree with what Arijit mentioned. We don't need to create everything in-house. Gone are the day where we wanted to create everything in-house. We've realized painstakingly that we are experts in creating insurance products, pricing it, and creating a ecosystem to deliver best in possible care. Not only in inpatient care, but wellness, fitness, trying and driving the whole digital ecosystem of the sorts, and partnering with the InsurTech and a lot of startups that are happening who are solving the micro problems of the consumers. So a lot of that is going to really come to fore, and all of this will be driven with innovation on cloud native technology, AI, ML, a lot of blockchain solutions that are coming to fore, and solving the consumer problem, trying and increasing the penetration for the country, and creating products which are economic, and the scale being the solution for making any insurance product to really sustain with the inflation that is going up. All of that put together, I see a lot of innovation happening on the product side, consumer journey side, supported by the digital health ecosystem, driven by a lot of innovative changes on the regulatory advocacy agenda, William.
Great. I think we hear a lot about the future, what the technology can bring to the industry, but we also know there is a lot of hurdles in the adoption of innovation solution. So maybe can we share what could be the biggest hurdle in the adoption of innovation solution? Maybe I start with Visha first.
So I get the chance now to start it off. I'll keep it simple. I think biggest hurdle is, from my perspective, is chartering or managing the consumer behavior. I think this is something that is going to be constantly changing. You will, we as an industry will provide something, they're going to like it, dislike it, or maybe going to demand another route around. So I think consumer behavior will be evolving, and that is something that will constantly keep us on our toes to do it. Having said that, I think we'll really need to be patient in terms of providing that solution, technology solution, those journeys, that reach, in order to manage that customer behavior, and also stay very attentive in terms of responding in a very agile manner, and be upfront in all those things. There are risks which are going to change, so those are things that we need to keep our radar on and continue to provide products and solutions around that. We are in a very, very impressive state in terms of where India stands today, from insurance growth story, with the impetus that the regulator is providing us for us to really charter our own trajectory of growth. So we need to keep our eyes open, ears open, and willingness to grow. Technology will continue to be a big supporter. We really need to keep on evolving with the customer behavior evolving along with it.
Yeah, I think for this question, I think maybe Avijit is very familiar with it, because you work in the big company and you are now a startup. So what could be the biggest hurdle in the adoption of your solution, for example?
You're talking about my solution, or like
other innovative
in general?
solution?
Sorry,
other innovation solution. All innovative solutions be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel I'll reflect a bit in my past and then I'll come to my present. If I reflect to the past, one of the past means with traditional large insurance companies, one of the issues I saw was channel conflict when there is a need for innovation. Because when you are spending not multi-million, but $1 billion deal in large bank assurance, brokered relationship, when you are having a huge tied agency, and sometimes you want to drive your products to that, digital innovation of the similar products or creating a digital channel for such companies becomes very difficult, because it becomes a conflict to the primary channel. And the primary channel actually does more than 90% of the business. Then the senior leadership then says that if you get 90% of the volume from primary channel from traditional products, why you need to invest in the digitization of the products or distribution through digital channel? That is what I experienced in my past. So channel conflict being one of the reasons. Now, coming to the InsurTech side, I don't think it's a challenge in adoption of technology. Technology is changing. Like Vishal mentioned about ChatGPT and other things, that might have a very indirect effect to our business. But technology changing is how you can embrace the technology to make your products and journeys better. Like, for example, if there is a usage of VR, and through a VR, you can actually now under a claims inspect oil rig in some middle of the ocean. You actually don't have to go as an underwriter and visit the space. That is an adoption of technology to do a claim settlement, right? There are a lot of things you can do, and you have to evolve with the technology, with the new technology which is coming. So again, going back is how we are utilizing data analytics with the technology, with what the current consumer want, and make things simple, affordable, and accessible is what we need to work on the insurance side.
Yeah, I think this is a very practical advice for any InsurTech in the forum. We should learn from it. Finally, let's hear the view from Pia. Let's say we now want to implement ChatGPT or something like that in insurance industry. What do you think is the biggest hurdle?
So sure. So we have a lot of use cases, auto adjudicating claims, in milliseconds, trying and approving those through an AI-based model. We have also, in our country, Manipal Cigna has actually deployed a machine learning model where not every single claim has to go through investigation or surveillance. So that also has added a lot of strength. But, in my view, I agree with Vishal. The biggest hurdle, in adoption of technology, and technology is not existing. It's not the case that technology didn't exist, or, it's rapidly changing, and countries evolving, and insurance, especially health insurance, is really, made great strides and great progress in adopting some of this. And there's a long way to go, I agree. But I think given the way distribution, the way health insurance products are sold in India, they're still 60% and upwards advisory. Even simpler, very, very digitally sold kind of products are also, people look forward to advice because of the trust deficit that we spoke about some time back. Because of that model, adoption of technology, across the value chain from a consumer standpoint will remain to be the biggest challenge, driven by the influence from the distribution or distributing, model in India. According to me, that will remain to be unlocked for us to see the true potential and true outcome. And passing those, with technology, we will solve the consumer problem. We'll solve, the huge amount of cost that the industry spends in isolation. Every company spends in solving fraud and abuse, trying and, managing providers. All of that cost saving can go back, to the consumer as dollars save in terms of, better premiums. I think those are areas to watch out and really, solve for as a net impact from a adoption perspective.
Great, thank you. I think we have a very, very insightful panel, and I think all are leaders in the industry, and I hope the world will be better and the insurance will be better in 5 years' time. And maybe I pass the time back to Pankaj.
Thanks a lot, William, for asking these questions and making it really interactive. Thanks to Vishal, Arijit, and Priya for your insights. And I'm really fascinated to see how you have so customer-focused approach on building the innovative technologies, on creating products, on thinking about the future hurdles, and so on and so forth. And when insurance companies are so customer-focused, I'm sure that the products and the policies will be extremely beneficial to the customers. But now it is the time to move on to the second part of the session, where William from MediConCen is going to present MediConCen solution. And then our panelists are going to grill him, roast him on the solution, on the competitive landscape, on the technology and things of that nature. And please try to turn on the heat a bit, because we want a really interesting roasting for the solution. So William, let's try to share your screen and walk us through what you have, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Our company, as I mentioned before, our only mission is to automate insurance claims. So our company is founded in 2018, and we automate insurance claims using Hyperledger blockchain. As a matter of fact, we actually hold a patent in Hong Kong and pending in the US and Singapore as well. We are now serving over 600,000 customers with 14 insurance partners in Hong Kong mainly, and also in UAE. And we also do cashless insurance process. So we are also connected directly to the provider. We are connected to over 1,200 doctors in Hong Kong, and our company is at PA Plus brand. And I myself, William, is an actuary. And right before I found this company, I worked in Zhong'an, one of the biggest InsurTech company. And before that, I worked in FWD, creating their digital channel. So I know quite a lot about how to create products. But then I found out actually for every product to work, most importantly, we need to get the claim working. So what are the current issues faced by the insurer that we are trying to solve? I think largely it would be 4 points. First, poor customer experience. Everyone would agree that actually the insurance experience is not the best in the world. You would have a happier experience buying other products because there are so many processes to follow. and the people doesn't know how to do the insurance claim process. And besides the claim problem, for insurance company, there are many undetected fraud, abuse, and pre-existing cases because currently it relies on human to do the adjudication with lateral limit to capacity and accuracy. The way that one claim assessor assess the case could be different from the other one, and there is no consistency. And there are still many paper processes with lots of manual entry errors and also data lag. You need to wait for the data to come before you can do anything. So there is a lot of error in the data extraction and a lot of delay in every processes. And finally, the medical network utilization is typically not the best because the provider doesn't like having a delayed settlement. So they simply do not join. I think one panelist also mentioned that. And that is reducing the saving in terms of the insurance costs. So how do we do to create a lasting impact? First, we focus on the customer experience. We kill all the process that can be automated by technology. So the customer got faster claim processing, and ideally they don't need to claim. If we can follow the cashless flow, we do the pre-approval very seamlessly, and we enable better claim decision with consistent results. We apply AI to detect the fraud, abuse, pre-existing, and double claim. And most importantly, we allow analytics to analyze what kind of the fee level is not usual, customary, and reasonable. And that create a consistently better outcome to the insurance company. And we fully automate and digitalize the whole process using our blockchain backbone. So any data could be verified, and there is no reconciliation needed between the partners, like the hospital and the insurance company. They no longer need to rely on red signature or the piece of paper to confirm that the claim actually occurred. And we also enhance the utilization of network. We make a lot of provider, which previously are not willing to join network, become one of the network doctor because our process is so simple. We apply a Uberized model to grow and optimize the provider network. So how does we do all the things? I think we have 5 components that are quite unique to us. One is the Uberification of medical network. We standardize the whole process. So every medical provider is just like an Uber driver in our case. You can download our app and create the account, do the KYC. Automatically, you become one of the panel provider, and you can take business from the insurance.
So, sorry, William, who downloads the app, the consumer or your B2B partner?
The clinic and the hospital. In Hong Kong, a lot of doctors, they are standalone doctor, they run their own clinic. So every medical provider, they can join the network by simply downloading MediConCen app.
So this is not the claimant, it's not the retail individual, it's the hospital who is claiming.
Yeah, this involves the cashless part, the cashless insurance. We now allow the provider, the clinic, to download the app, and then they can become one of the panel doc simply via our blockchain network. And then we also have end-to-end connectivity via API integration directly with the hospital. Before you need to take the data from the customer, or for example, you need people to submit the images of the hospital bill in order for you to do the claim. But we have the technology directly integrating to the clinic, the medical provider system. We also have a strategic investor who are creating that regionally. So we know the system, so we can provide end-to-end connectivity. And we have extensive use of AI for decision. So we apply our expert knowledge together with the data to tell whether there is any chance. For example, simply the diagnosis. Every doctor write the diagnosis differently, but we can map it to the ICD classification and determine whether this diagnosis is related to the surgery that the patient is trying to treat. Sometimes we can find out, okay, you sneak in certain surgery that is not related to your diagnosis. And we also do claim journey digitalization. We integrate with chatbot and the local engine so that we create a very fast the interface needed for the customer to get instant answer. For example, you can get instant claim quotation from our engine via chatbot. You just send a message in WhatsApp, and then you get the answer that you need. And finally, we use our workflow automation and decision automation to allow everything to be done automatically and without delay. And here is our client record. Most of our clients is in Hong Kong. We have 14 of them. And in mainland China, we have a lot of hospitals joining us. And in the UAE, we are working with the largest insurer there. And our technology, actually our blockchain system is quite easy to understand. Actually, the end user, which is the insured, and the doctor, they do not need to have blockchain facility. Only those large organizations need the blockchain facility, like the insurance company, the TPA company, or the medical or the hospital group. They need to host a blockchain node so that within among the big organization, the trust is ensured. No one can do any file without digital consent. No one can change anything. But the end user, like those who are using the mobile app, they don't need to install blockchain on their phone. So that is the decentralized trust model. And we have won a lot of awards in Hong Kong. We won the Gold Award among the banking, insurance, and the capital market, which is the top award in the Hong Kong industry. Our strategic investor Mobigator is one of the largest hospital information system provider in Asia, and they have all the top hospital being their client. So we understand the hospital system, and we got the capability to directly integrate with those hospitals. I just take one example of our product for you to understand how we are working the whole thing together. This is our architecture diagram. So from the insured, we already got an automated local claim submission form for them so that they can upload the information very easily. And we, instead of having human to process it, we will instantly process it and see whether it sounds like a correct piece of paper, and also whether there is any chance that the material is photo edited. And we provide instant feedback to the insurer so that they don't need to wait before a few days before someone read it and see, okay, the photo is not correct, or too blurred, I cannot see it. So it saves the insurer time. And then we run it through the claim process engine. We will extract the data via our knowledge-based OCR and also determine the ICD and the CPT code. And then we will assess it for fraud by identifying a normal pattern and adjudicate the claim based on the medical rule, policy condition, and machine learning. And we feed the data back to the claim management portal and create instant analytics that the customer can know, for example, which doctor are creating the most claim, and what are the changes, the trend, and how to analyze what kind of thing are creating the claim. And we also have a very flexible rule engine that can be customized according to different insurance companies' different needs. This is one of the example of our OCR engine. You see the bill are extracted instantly via an upload, and sometimes the wording is different. For example, there is a chart here, you see a Julian here, but our system can still map it to our expert knowledge base, because we are not simply doing OCR. We have the knowledge about this item, and we can map it very easily, even the wording is not correct. And then we know these meal charges, what kind of insurance benefit it belongs to, so we can also do all the processing. For example, this belongs to miscellaneous charge for some policy. Some policy doesn't include meal, so we can exclude that. So all the decision rule can be consistently done. So our solution got the expected result is more than 70% of the case can be done straight through. And we can reduce the human input error, and we provide additional management insight. So I think in the interest of time, that is our quick introduction. So we are happy to take any questions.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I'll ask one question. See, roasting doesn't come naturally to me. Generally, I'm soft-spoken, right? But I'll try to ask questions normally. So first thing is why it has to be on a blockchain platform? Because it could have been on a microservices platform with APIs and which you can connect with your ecosystem. A lot of people use blockchain because it was a sexy term when there was a whole crypto bull run. Is it because you adopted that? Because I don't see the same use case can be done without using the term blockchain.
Let me try to make it this way. Actually, without blockchain, you can do all the feature. All feature can be done without blockchain. That's for sure. You can automate. You just get the data somewhere via API. Everything is viable. But the blockchain only serves one purpose, is to ensure the trust among the payer. For example, if MediConCen create a system that record the claim, and then we ask all parties to believe in us, and then just settle based on our system without any check. Can they do that? They cannot do that. Even if the insurance company, they can create a system and share it with all the hospitals, there is still no complete trust between the two parties. You would trust each other before you do business, of course. But then still, your compliance, your audit with certain reconciliation. So you cannot automate everything. I think blockchain only serves the purpose to ensure complete automation. Just take Hong Kong as an example. Of course, all the TPA, third-party administrator, they can do cashless. But then they still need the patient to sign on a piece of paper to prove that actually they have received the service. They don't check it, but in case they need to check, they need that. And that creates all the problems, like if there is a piece of paper which the patient has signed, with the provider type in the information again, they wrong, right? It's on the piece of paper. So they need someone to extract the data from the piece of paper. They need to file it, have all the administrators. I think the automation can never be 100% without blockchain if it involves multiple parties.
So that's what I'm trying to understand. So if there's a piece of, suppose you received a claim form, which is a piece of paper, someone is uploading that in your infrastructure, right? How do you extract the data?
We have two solutions. One solution is to process the pay and claim form, that we extract the information via OCR. We read the data, we do adjudication using AI. That one doesn't require blockchain because it's not cashless settlement. We use blockchain for the cashless settlement between the hospital and the insurance company, because that is involving a big amount, and also the size would matter. Whether the claim is actually exists would matter financially. So that's why we use blockchain. For the pay and claim part, we are applying technology, but our ultimate goal is to convert all the claim to cashless, so that people doesn't need to, the patient doesn't need to submit claims.
I understand when you're creating the blockchain platform, it creates a smart contract for the particular transaction. And in that particular smart contract, you cannot then make any changes because it's already, the block is already formed, right? And then from audit purposes is better. But you still have the problem that when you are extracting the data, if there is a tampering of the data happens during that time, that data, which is a tampered data, also gets into your block as well.
Let me explain like this way. Just take outpatient as an example. Before the hospital can write whatever came. I just say William has visited me, and I just mark came in onto the system, and you need to believe the hospital is not doing any file before you can work out this system, right? But now we create a digital QR code, we call it digital signature, and that digital signature is only available via the insurer app as a QR code. So the insured, they need to log into the app and then pull out a QR code in order to sign off any usage of the cashless insurance. So after the outpatient visit, they need to show the QR code to the clinic, and then the clinic or hospital, they scan the QR code and have the sign off of the transaction before any claim can be written onto the blockchain. So even the provider, they now cannot record the claim themselves. So, but of course, if the doctor working together with the patient, they can do anything. There's nothing we can prevent that. Logically, if two parties are doing together, no one can prevent that. Only the AI can spot the error later on. But now they cannot do it themselves. I think that the whole merit of smart contract is to prevent changes. Yeah.
Let's see if Priya has, I think Priya has a question.
Yeah. So thanks, Arijit, for that question, and William for your response. I just want to understand a little bit more. Basically your solution is tabulation and estimation of claim instantly for simpler claims for auto decision making, followed by a rule engine, score-based rule engine, which is nothing but I'm assuming it is machine learning for the new patterns, and basically basis the standard rules of product and provider packages, or maybe provider standard tariffs, making a instant decision making. So I would like you to explain how do you keep up, how does this solution, and I totally agree with Arijit, it doesn't need to be a blockchain. You have machine learning AI solutions which are easily deployable and can be customized to the country and a particular specific business model of an insurance company for it to really work fantastically. So if you could just throw some light on how is your solution learning for the evolving patterns of fraud? If you were to normalize it, or think about this particular solution for a country like India, just making an just giving an example where fraud is evolving, and fraud is not hard fraud. Patterns are changing. And the kind of diversity of healthcare providers that are existing. So more than 60,000 establishments which call themselves as hospitals. I'm not even going to the primary and secondary care space, which is still further mushrooming. So how do you keep up with the evolving fraud patterns? And if we were to think about a very complex environment where healthcare providers are not regulated, there is no standard structure to a tariff, and the type of permutation combinations that come in, those evolve as well. So how do you operate in that complicated model? That's my first question on provider management as well as fraud detection. My second question to you, given that it's a use case and you have so many awards and so many 14 insurance companies and 600,000 kind of customers and 1,200 units of caregivers, so to say. What is the kind of ROI in terms of this solution has to have easy consumer, the consumer experience simplification. But that happens at the back of solving the, abuse and leakage, as well as helping, instant decision making for the providers, and thereby cost saves in terms of discounts or, some kind of cost share, so to say. So what is the kind of ROI that you have delivered to the consumers, the clients that you have serviced, and what is your model of what is your operating model in charging service fee for these clients? So these three triad of question I would like you to answer.
Yeah, thank you for the question. That is very relevant. I want to address the first question first. How could we detect the fraud, especially in a market that is very difficult like India? I think I want to give you an example on how we would do it. Especially, let's assume easier cases like outpatient first. Typically, you would have a huge volume of outpatient cases, and they have all kinds of abuse, like you can double claim on the same receipt, you can even Photoshop the receipt, or try to claim something that is pre-existing or not covered in the insurance. We start the first step is to identify whether the information submitted is correct and untampered. There are first of all, there is a lot of technique we can apply in order to spot the receipt is tampered. Just like you Photoshop and add a zero to there, it's easy for the machine to identify, okay, this is Photoshop. And then the second thing is we apply OCR to extract the information. Why is this very important? Is normally you would have a threshold below which you don't really read that, because you cannot read every claim. You cannot extract all data from the receipt because there's so many information. I tell you one secret. In Hong Kong, even so developed that not every insurer will look at every cases, and they sometimes even lack the information to identify which doctor are creating the most claim. These information are in the receipt, in the image, but if we extract that information from the images, we can already determine quite a lot of things. So the typical way that we work with insurance companies is like, okay, pass us a sample of the claim that you have adjudicated in the past, and you know the consequence, you know how many claims you have approved, and then we run it through our engine and we find which cases is typically should be declined, and you work it out and see whether it should really be declined. Then you can quantify the impact of our solution, because the technology can read each and every cases, but human cannot read each and every cases. And we can extract all the data in a structured way, such that you can do all the analysis. Like, for example, if every diagnosis can be mapped to a standardized code, you can determine very accurately that diagnosis, whether it should be approved or declined, or whether you should investigate for pre-existing. But currently the situation is every doctor write the same diagnosis differently. They will say, okay, they use different short form and different way to express the same thing, and you cannot control them, right? Because it's a pay and gain case. So we can read all those and then making sense of it, creating a structure for it, and then help you to apply a better decision to all the cases without involving a lot of humans. So that's how we create more value on the for outpatient. For inpatient, it's also interesting because actually you think a lot of things is very across different market. Of course, there is, but the human the path to disease is actually similar, regardless of which location. Say you can't have end-stage disease that fast without having a pre-existing cases. If we can we can apply the same knowledge about how the disease develop across different markets, because at the end of the day, you want to determine whether there is any pre-existing. That's one major fault. I have a disease, I buy insurance, and I wait for the waiting period, and then I get the game. That's one thing. And then the second one is about the fee level. Currently, I'm not sure if there is any regulation on the reasonable level in India, but in Hong Kong or in many Asia places, there is no regulation saying that what kind of fee level is reasonable. They just have a very vague cost law called usual, customary, and reasonable charges, and that creates a lot of dispute, right? Insurer would first of all, you don't have the data, the modeling to determine what is really not reasonable, and even if you do, you got to have some basis in order to adjust down the claim. What our technology is actually the objective way for you to analyze whether the cases is the fee charged by the doctor is reasonable, and then you will have more basis to discuss for your information to justify your decision to adjust down the cases. I think in the motor industry already is doing that. You have what we call the fair value of the loss, but in medical science, it's typically a pure subjective judgment. So we are using data technique to help you quantify that. Of course, we don't have the data.
Sorry, William, I think you have to keep your answers a bit short so that we can sort of answer.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
One question Priya asked was, how do you monetize?
How to charge, right?
Yeah.
The fee model. We charge it based on the benefit that we create. So typically we would have a POC to evaluate how much value we can create for you, and then we would charge a portion of it. And our fee model is a SaaS model, meaning that is you pay either per claim or it's a fee model that is SaaS.
So as Arijit roasted just now, and he said he doesn't. On that note, on a lighter note, I just want to ask: do you risk share? One is, do you have a baseline benchmark? As an insurance company, any insurance company would be conventionally saving through leakages, saving through adjudication protocols, and automating that. Is there a threshold beyond which you risk share, and then charge your premium? Or how does it work? And have you delivered ROIs for the companies that you've served?
Mm-hmm. We typically charge per claim, per insurance claim process, and of course the charge is different for outpatient and inpatient claim. And we would first do an exercise to estimate the benefit first, and then we would adjust the per case rate based on the estimated benefit. I think the thought rate would be quite different from different markets. So we don't have a reference for India. So but we definitely can work together to work out a business case.
No, sure. So you could answer that question more from the geography that you've serviced, and without taking too much time, I'm sure Vishal has some interesting questions as well.
Yeah, but typically we share around 20% of the saving in full. Around 20%. Yeah. So the insurance company keep 80%. So
it's completely outcome basis.
I can get your last question.
I meant it's completely on outcome basis. There is no fixed fee.
We would estimate the outcome, and then we convert it into per claim charges. So because it's hard to always do that kind of exercise to estimate the saving, so we can't do that. But we would do it on a initial exercise, and then we tell you, okay, roughly we can save how much, and based on that, we charge you X dollar per claim. We would basically taking 20% of the upside that's how we are doing that.
Okay, let's take question from Vishal.
Yeah.
I think fag end. I think Priya really asked some difficult question, and I think she really asked it very well. So we got a comprehensive answer coming out over there. So thank you, Priya, for that. William, I may have a stupid question, so please pardon me. And especially when these stupid questions come at the fag end of the session, they might go any which way. So in your experience, do you really have had any user case where a hospital has actually taken this platform and not an insurance company? Does this make sense from that perspective, or any country a regulator has actually come across and said, hey, this makes more sense to deploy this as a tool across the hospitals or the healthcare network? Have you seen this kind of a case?
I think there are value creation for the hospital and the healthcare provider, and as a matter of fact, they are our time to, but we typically doesn't charge them. What they need to do is that they onboard our platform, they provide service to the insurance company, and then we take a processing fee from the insurance company. That's typical way. But of course, our solution are helping them to streamline the flow. So working with the insurance company will not be as painful as status quo. But typically, the one who pay us is the insurance company.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we still have 4 minutes. If there are any questions.
I was wondering, William, why can't a typical TPA do what you are doing, right? They can just put this as additional service and do it, because they also have all the data to process. They know in a hospital bill, like exactly what are the expenses for each category. And they can do exactly like they have anyways, the big service, but they can just plug in the service which you are claiming to have on your blockchain platform.
I think it's actually we are doing some part of the function. Of course, they can also do that, but then I think typically the TPA are formed by those with medical knowledge. So they are typically formed by a group of doctors. So they typically apply very subjective way to handle the process. Like they will have human to assess the cases. They have human to do the work. But then our way is different because we are a tech company. So we apply technology. We hire the technology to do the work of a TPA, I would say, and we do it on a larger scale because typically the TPA are localized, meaning that if you are a Singapore TPA, you are serving the Singapore market only, and you, for example, you cannot do the cashless business outside of Singapore. But for us, we can even work with the TPA because we are a technology company. We provide tools so that they can connect very seamlessly. So I think that's the difference between our solution and there. Of course, there's a bit of function overlapping, and our function overlap with the existing status quo, the function of a few Kim staff as well. But technology is more consistent. That's what we can say.
Go ahead, Priya.
Pankaj, is there I see another 2 minutes, but just a quick question. May I just quickly before we wrap up?
Please, yeah.
So, I heard the question being asked, like, it can be akin to a TPA, and, gone are the days where TPAs have only medical doctors, and very subjective way of dealing with claims because everybody is investing in technology. So how do you see your solution to be unique and not replicable easily? So, what's your thought on that?
Mm-hmm. I think our nothing cannot be replicated, but our strength is actually our understanding of insurance and also the understanding of technology. We see a lot of companies, they are formed by the insurance expert, so they know insurance, but the technology side is weaker. So they are using traditional technology to solve the problem, which it had a certain limit. And we see a lot of tech companies who are applying the latest tech, but they cannot solve the practical issue because they don't understand the issue. So we have knowledge about both sides, so we can create a solution. And even if the solution doesn't exist, we can co-create because we speak the language of the two sides. So that's I think the only keep evolving, keep enhancing the product can prevent competition, because nothing cannot be copied in this world.
Yeah, William, my take is, I mean, not to negate what you guys have built, but you commenting that other TPAs don't have technology plus insurance knowledge, I don't buy that, because they are create TPAs in that insurance because they have the domain expertise of running such businesses.
Yeah, definitely. TPA are doing a great job as well. So it's also a certain competition on that. but I think we are applying technology to do the thing. So in the sense, we are a tech company.
Okay, I heard a lot of interesting questions on the differentiation, on the defensibility, on the applicability of blockchain, on the ROI, on keeping answers short. So I think there are a lot of areas to improve, William, over here. And again, really thanks to Vishal, Priya, and Arijit for asking those direct questions, giving that direct feedback, because these are the kind of direct questions and feedback that keep us informed, that help us learn from the experts, improve and grow. So I think we should thank the jury and obviously, try to improve even more. But again, this is not the end of this relationship. This is just the beginning. I think we should reconnect and see how we can collaborate. If you love to, collaborate with MediConCen, mentor William and team on the product roadmap, on the GTM, on the differentiation, let's reconnect and talk about those possibilities. If you think that, hey, I would love to try this solution in a very small way within my own organization, we can definitely talk about that as well. But again, really appreciate everybody's time over here. It was fantastic, very insightful conversation, and really awesome grilling. I love that. I don't know about you, William. Let's keep the discussion going on. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Vijay.
Thank you, everybody.
Really
Bye-bye.
excited. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye. See you.